Welcome to Flipping the Field, where gridiron grit meets construction and real estate.
All the way from kickoff to closing.
Greg, thank you for joining me, and I'm glad we can finally do this.
Heck yeah, been a long time coming.
Whew. Now, we go way back, and I say way back, we do, as I sit back in this chair. I mean, we've thought about doing this for a while, and, we thought about what we wanted to name something and how we come up with this, and, doing construction, doing real estate. I mean, let's go way back to the OG days of football.
All right, going back a decade.
Tell me what flipping the field really means.
I mean, truly, first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us here. It's been a long time in the making, like Christian said, but flipping the field, that's where we landed. Now, prior to getting into what it means, I want to truly emphasize, how many different names do you think we came up with over the years?
Probably 10 plus at a minimum. At a minimum.
And there was constant feedback. Say, hey, what do you think about this one? Does it tie into the theme? Does it really exemplify what we're trying to do here? Because I mean, start to finish, like you said, just going through, and I mentioned at the beginning too, kickoff to closing. I mean, we're going to be talking about all things real estate. We're going to be talking about construction. We're going to be talking about financing. We're going to be talking about lifestyle. There's going to be so many different topics, and really flipping the field embodies that. So flipping the field, we both just tying it back to the OG days where this all started, Clemson football. Flipping the field is an analogy, and really it just comes down to putting your team in the position to be successful. So you got 11 guys out there on the field, and specialists. I mean, we're both kickers, hence the PK.
Come on.
But it truly is, one, paying tribute to the specialist side, but then also it tells everybody has a goal, and it tells the story of 11 people coming together to be able to achieve that common goal while putting their peers in the best position to be successful. And I mean, that's start to finish.
I mean, I think what really embodies it is, let's just go ahead and say it, like going back to football, myself and you, like, we would have never become friends or business partners if it wasn't for something like that.
That's true.
And what this means.
Yep.
A football team and a football locker room, it could be high school into college, even, NFL. It brings people together that never would have been together otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, you could look at all different cultural backgrounds and family backgrounds, that even athletic backgrounds. I mean, it brings people together that, and unite to one. I mean, you mentioned 11 people. I mean, what did Sweeney always say? The triple braided cord.
Yep.
Right? I mean, you always want to make sure that we're all working in, tandem together. And if one person falls off or misses an assignment, I mean, everybody knows. Now, being specialist, if a specialist misses an assignment, 80,000 plus people know.
Oh yeah, plus the millions.
I think you know that
TV.
Really well.
Yeah, plus the millions on TV. That's for sure. I've received some very non-friendly or unfriendly letters in the mail, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Now, as we're talking about football, Greg won't like to say it himself, but freshman All-American, he comes out, tries out, and, Alex and myself were already on the team. Who's this guy? He's tried out 2 or 3 times already, joins the team, wins the job in fall camp, works his tail off. Now, either trying to get onto the team, and then that first year in particular, what was your favorite moment?
Honestly, wow, that's a great question. My favorite moment is that point of realization that it was real. Knowing the years and the time and effort and the critiquing of the craft to be able to just get that chance. The realization was truly, and I'll never forget it, I'm sure you remember this too, I would go to the practice facility. I would go to the football team's fields, coaches that are listening, sorry. But I would go out there before. It would be late into the night, and it's constantly just perfecting your craft as to what you can do. But my favorite part of that year was the point of realization that this goal that you have been striving towards, and this is something that we talk about a lot, all of these different plans that people put together and these goals that you're working to obtain, once you actually achieve that goal, it's like a point of realization. It's like, okay, well now I got to do another goal. Anytime we're going through and we're doing projections or we're doing forecasting and we put together what we call stretch goals. And then just more of a realistic goal. So just being able to see, okay, how far are we able to push the envelope? How far are we able to perfect our craft to be able to realize that success? And truly, I think it was becoming a part of the team, knowing that amount of work, it wasn't for nothing. And the support from my family, friends, being able to meet you and Alex, and being able to step into that environment that I've been working towards, it was the feeling that I'll never forget is we had a really close-knit specialist group. We did.
Oh, yeah.
And it's that point of just being welcomed with open arms, because that's another thing that Sweeney always says, iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron. You mentioned the All-American year, freshman All-American. I would never have been able to do that if I didn't have people like you by my side, of being able to push me every single day in the weight room, even though.
Hey, let's not talk about that.
I thought about that as soon as I said it. Christian was the strongest specialist. All right. But having those guys by your side, having those teammates, having those peers that have those same goals and aspirations, whether it's on the field, off the field, specifically within your career, and having those people that are your support system and that are going through it with you. Wow, I'm going to get emotional.
Well, hey, let's talk. One thing we can't forget about that year that I love of what you did, right? You come on the team, and, when you're a part of a team like that, you're, gifted cleats or, things that you get as a part of being on that team. You didn't accept cleats.
Nope.
You had the old neon.
Yep. Mercurial vapors.
Yes. And guess what? The sole was falling off. It was taped.
Yep.
Who's this kicker kicking balls off his toe, not off the meat of his foot like it's, you're trained to kick. And
yep.
You're like, and he's hitting knuckleballs that are just bombs. You're like, what is going on?
Yep.
How many times did you try to super glue those or tape those?
I still have those dang cleats.
Yeah.
And super glue is the greatest invention of all time besides duct tape. Let me tell you. But no, it's true, because I like to look at kicking, and better than anybody, the little things matter. So as we're going through, and this, you can constantly just think about all these different things that we're talking about, how it's applicable not only to sports and perfecting your craft in that scenario, in that particular position, but as well as there's so many different comparisons and really rollovers into the real world of the little things that if you can perfect those, the goal is going to take care of itself. So, those cleats are what got me on the team.
Yeah.
They got me on the team, and those were what I was the most comfortable in. Confidence is huge in kicking.
Tried to get you to get new ones, and
came and
tried.
There were several options. I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah,
I can't do it. I've broken these things in since high school.
That's
I've had
right.
these bad boys in junior year.
Well, the small things go a long way,
They do.
And you can't reach the end goal or what you're really trying to hit unless you can do the small things right.
Yep.
It could be in construction, like if you can't start off in a project and hit the first thing, the first deadline, how are you going to hit the project end date without cutting corners?
Exactly.
If you're doing a loan, if you can't do things the right way, the small things along the way, how can you grow a loan business or, underwrite efficiently or, close efficiently.
And that's truly the difference between somebody that's good and somebody that's great.
That's right.
Is the good, or say a slightly above average individual, focuses on a goal. And that is their number one. That's the number one thing they're focusing on, is saying, okay, like, this is what I'm going to achieve. The great focus on the little things, knowing that, hey, I got to check these boxes. I really got to perfect this thing. Like you're talking about, whether you're going through and actually working on the deal structure on a particular loan that you're working on. If it's ground up construction and you're going through and you're pulling all of those different levers, okay, what's important on this one in comparison to others, and it may not be your typical deal, and just going through. And if you're able to perfect all of the in-betweens as to what actually connects all of those different dots, you don't have to focus on the goal, because the goal is going to take care of itself.
I mean, exactly. You get 7 home games a year. You get, hopefully, 15, maybe 16 games now if you win it all. I mean, that's not a lot of time for a year-round season of, could be spring practice, weightlifting, mat drills, summer ball, everything that goes on, throughout the year. Not for a short amount of time, but, you only have a few weekends or months out of that year. And that's why, you have to be perfecting that craft. And you have 3 hours plus or minus to showcase it every given Saturday. Yep. And, that was one thing I loved watching about you, was you had a routine and you had a way you went about your business, right? Of, this is how I'm going to do things on game day, or don't bother me during this. And guess what? Like, that has led into what we're doing now, because guess what? You're not always going to play football. As kickers, you always know that.
We're sitting here for a reason.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have to be prepared.
Yep.
Right? And you're now taking that same mindset of, hey, I can, this routine that I had for kicking, it could be, on game day, or it could be the day before. Like, I can apply the same mindset of, this is how I'm going to attack certain things. And, that's what I loved in watching you do a lot of construction stuff, and, a mindset of, routine basis of going about things very meticulously, but also efficiently.
Right. I'm happy you said that, because anything that you do, you need to be intentional as you're doing it. So I know we're talking about perfection. Perfection is the goal, but that doesn't mean that is the standard. So there's a saying that's analysis paralysis. So the last thing you want to do is, you want to be able to be very intentional about what you're focusing on, the prioritization of it, what is important in this moment, what is an impact that I can make immediately, without taking it too far as to going down the rabbit hole to where you lose sight of your parameters, you lose your guardrails. You need those people alongside you to be able to hold you accountable. And that's one thing that we talked about from the very beginning of starting this thing, is we are going to hold each other accountable. I don't care if we don't want to hear it in the moment. I don't care if we're getting emotional. I don't care if we're extra passionate. That's one thing that we both do very well. And that's the same exact thing that ties back to a lot of the success that I had in football as well, was having individuals like yourself and you alongside me the entire step, in every single step of the way, and throughout the entire process. Is you need people beside you that, look at it in today's day and today's generation. Is, I'm not going to say a lack of accountability, but I am going to say a lot of people, and even older generations, a lot of people move away from tough love. Mm-hmm. Tough love is what you need sometimes. And
sometimes you need to hear it, even if it's not what you want to hear.
Even if it's not what you want to hear. And a lot of times nobody likes hearing tough love.
That's right.
But you need to be able to have those people that you can count on.
Yeah. So. And a lot of what we have taken, from our years together, we're able to, hey, we always used to say that after practice, or, you're moving from knee to knee because my knee's hurting. Come on, Coach Sweeney's talking for 30 minutes. But guess what? I still have my notebook.
Yep.
You revert back to these times of, you didn't know that, that you're going to be a leader early on in your career, or you're going to be leading teams, in the business world. And you go back to the days when you didn't think that you were even paying attention.
Yep.
18, 19, 20 years old or so. And now you're going back on those moments.
You can fall back on those belief systems and that foundation that you set up. Because that's I mean, shoot, you know how it goes. Whenever you're in some of those meetings or, like you're saying, switching from knee to knee post-practice, is a lot of it's going in one ear, out the other in the moment, but you don't realize, or at least I didn't realize until several years later. I mean, shoot, how many Sweeneyisms did we already say? Just starting out, because it's, even though you didn't feel like you were absorbing it in that moment, it comes down to like accounting in college, of actually having those direct real life examples. I mean, I didn't do well in accounting at Clemson.
I didn't either.
I barely made it through the dang thing.
Yeah.
But it's what occurs and what takes place in the real world, to where it's actually applicable knowledge that you can fall back on those foundations, as long as you're not, it truly is in one ear, out the other. I mean, you can, I'm not going to say you can only care so much, but you can only absorb so much. I mean, you take a sponge and you stick it in a bucket of water, it's only going to hold so much water.
Oh, yeah.
So then you're like drinking out of a fire hose at sometimes. But I mean, it's more so being intentional about how that information is received.
And as we have really wanted to get this going and, do our podcast of Flipping the Field, I mean, you mentioned it, that we're going to talk about all things construction, real estate, financing, personal. I mean, flipping the field can mean a lot of different things. It can just mean a simple, hey, I just bombed a 60-yard punt and completely flipped the field on the other team.
Yep.
Play the field position game,
yep.
Right? But also, even playing, college football, you go through a lot personally. Mm-hmm. Everybody probably just sees folks on TV and may not understand that these are actual individuals behind that helmet. There were many times I'm sure you wanted to quit, or, certain things that go on. I certainly had it, and that's why we have people by our sides now, and you're able to literally flip the field mentally.
Yep. On
how you're going about things in your daily life. It could be a simple routine thing. Maybe you've come across something that, you can change in a daily basis where, hey, if I do this one thing, guess what? One thing that I change on my daily routine of 24 hours a day, that if I start doing this for a week, a month, couple months, you're going to start to see a lot of change in your life. It could be, physically, it could be mentally. There's so much that can change by even literally, we were just talking about it, starting small.
Yep.
I mean, if you start small, it leads to the big things.
I'm trying to think of what Sweeney used to always say. He's like, your thoughts become your beliefs become your actions become habits, your habits become character, something. Basically, exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. It's a mindset thing, to where, I mean, shoot, say instead of, now not all of us are early risers like you are. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'm not getting out of bed at 4:30 in the morning.
Sometimes. Hey, that's
got to. One little thing, but knowing that is kind of playing on strengths and weaknesses, is seeing and being honest and being open with yourself, of talking about that tough love, is, okay, where are areas of improvements that I can make an immediate change right now that's going to have an impact on my day? Like you're saying, one little change is, okay, some people, they may need some time to be able to actually fully process and fully think about, okay, what is my day going to hold? A lot of times people just, it feels like a never-ending circle, a constant routine of just never being able to catch up mentally, physically, all the above. And it's like, hey, well, if you just set aside the time, like, just wake up 15 minutes earlier. You wake up 15 minutes earlier, you have that time to where your phone hasn't started ringing off the hook yet. Your email inbox hasn't started blowing up. Your family's not reaching out to you. Your friends aren't reaching out to you. Truly, it's a time to be able to be at peace, to be able to truly absorb and have that mental clarity, to be able to do that evaluation, to where it's like, okay, what's one little thing? Now, I'd recommend doing it post cup of coffee, but there's so many different things. And I mean, I use that as an example because that's one thing that I did.
Yeah.
Is, you know what? 15 minutes earlier before, and you know what? I'll snooze the alarm for 15 minutes, but I'll already be out of bed because it's like, all right, my do not disturb is still on. Like I have this time to be able to actually reset, put myself and put my mind in the right space to be able to attack the day like I know I need to.
100%. I mean, I love how you said attack the day, because I'm not going to let the day come at me.
Yep.
I'm going to go attack the day, right? I mean, it could be a simple change of mindset of positivity versus negativity, right? As kickers, hey, oh crap, don't push this right? Because guess what? If you think that, you're going to do it.
Yep.
You know, or it could be, hey, I'm going to drain this kick. You know, I'm telling myself positive, self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
Or, let's say you're, working on a construction project, or, hey, I'm going to win this bid. Not, what if so-and-so comes in a little bit under me, they win the job. No, it's a simple of just change of tone, change of, I'm going to make things positive now. Because when you, as they say, you look good, play good, feel good, right? If you change that into being positive, you're now walking with a different bounce in your step.
Yep.
And guess what? Everybody's going to notice that. And, even though you may be feeling some pressure, you may be feeling, some things going on, but by doing that, you're not trying to necessarily trick your brain, but you're being positive to the point of, hey, I know I can do this. Because guess what? If you let those negative thoughts slip in your mind, things can happen of missing that kick, or,
Yep.
Maybe not going as hard as you can, in the business world per se.
It's a psychological trick.
That's right.
Psychological trick that a lot of people don't fully realize the impact that it has. Now, we do, because of our moments with Milt every single time, every single week, every single Thursday, of actually going through, and it's actually putting those into practice, which a simple flip of the switch within a mindset, like you're saying, is switching from negative self-talk to positive self-talk. What that does is that instills confidence. And, I mean, a lot of times I want to say, hey, sometimes, I mean, we could be having conversations with somebody and it's like let's stick to your guns, man. Like,
Yeah.
Depending upon who we're talking to, and because that's just the type of people we are, is kind of just having, as we're having those conversations of truly being able to feel the intentionality as to where somebody's coming from, and being able to truly put ourselves in their position, walking in their shoes on a particular day. But there's some times where it's like switching from the negative to positive, it allows you to be able to go further than you ever thought you'd be able to. It allows you to be able to accomplish tasks faster, more effectively, more efficiently than you ever thought you'd be able to do. And it's just creating honestly a sense of structure out of it. And like, simplest way is, hey, you walk with a different hop in your step.
Yeah.
You can tell somebody that walks into a room, that's a confident guy right there.
That's
That's
right.
a confident woman right there.
Yeah.
Just from how they hold themselves. And I can tell you, honestly, on the same note, is like that person probably doesn't have any negative self-talk.
And guess what? That same person is probably going to, if you're in sales of some sort,
Yep.
is going to win over somebody that's just, I'm here.
Yep.
I mean, straight up.
Right.
They could maybe not know their product or service as good as the other person or a competitor, but guess what? They probably have a better relationship. They probably know how to handle things better of, hey, even if they don't know it, they sound positive. They sound like they know what they're doing.
And it'll start bleeding into areas of your life or in deals, or like you're talking about, if that person's in sales, into just organically more closings. Because what does a positive mentality have? Is if you go to a particular person that, say this person A has negative self-talk, person B has positive self-talk. we're both person B in this scenario, but that allows you to be able to approach and figure out and work through certain circumstances or situations that arise. There's always going to be issues.
Yep.
Are you viewing it as a problem? Are you bringing a solution-based mentality because you hold that optimistic ideology?
Yeah.
And that's how you attack every single potential problem? We don't have problems. We got opportunities.
That's right.
There's no such thing as failure.
Come on.
If I fail, I'm one step closer to success.
Come on. You gotta fall before you can even have success.
That's it.
I mean, I still remember I think it was a breakfast. Shout out to Coach Brent Venables, of
Coach
one
V.
of the nicest guys in the world. Would be as tough as a competitor between the lines, but also would be willing and able to just break bread and have lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever with you as a student athlete on the football team. And, I still remember asking him, I was like, hey, how are you so, no defenses so well? Well, number one, he studies. That's simple. We know that. But he said, hey, I know what they're going to do on offense before the ball is even snapped. And I think applying that to business for us has completely changed it.
Completely.
I mean, it could be in construction from a project that we're working on or a loan that we're working on, because if we know what's going to happen in a project that's under construction or a loan that we have going, if we know what's going to happen, or let's just say potential roadblocks, red flags ahead of time, yeah, like you said, we don't have problems. We got solutions. Mm-hmm. We're coming with solutions before problems even happen.
Yep.
And that has been able to change the game in being more efficient across the board.
And it has, and that's really a perfect example. I mean, on either side, if there's, say we're working on a remodel. If we have a project, we're working on a remodel, you never know what's behind the walls. You never know what contractor you're coming in after, or if they were a licensed contractor. So knowing and actually having a plan in place, because it's inevitable. It's going to happen. Roadblocks, obstacles, issues, they're going to occur. And it's more so just a test of the type of people we are, the type of companies that we've built, and the type of mentality that we bring every single day is, okay, we know they're going to happen, but let's make sure that we have a plan in place to act upon accordingly if we need to.
Yeah.
If we don't, great. If we do, great.
Yeah, of course. And as we try to wrap up our first episode of Flipping the Field, what do you hope that folks are able to get out of this over the long run? We want to be able to provide insights to things going on in construction, real estate, personal life. What do you want folks to get out of this?
So really, I want folks to be able to fully understand through the different conversations that we're going to have over time and from episode to episode is we get asked a lot of the same questions, whether it's through PK Capital Solutions, the lending company, or PK Legacy Builders, our home building and remodeling company, or it's during our time at Clemson, or it's different areas or attributes and characteristics that we attack the day with. We get asked a lot of the same questions throughout that time. Or just over time. And really the biggest takeaway that I want people to have is honestly that you're not alone. It's the simplest way to put it.
100%.
Is there are so many different obstacles and opportunities that we have overcome over the years, even just to get to the point that we're at today. And because a lot of people, whether you're watching the news or you're watching SportsCenter or whatever, or you're on Instagram, any type of social media, whatever it may be, you're watching people's highlight reels.
That's right.
You're watching all of the best things that people are doing and what they are, like if someone goes and buys a house or they buy a brand new car or they go and they get married or they're on this extremely amazing vacation. You're watching everybody's highlight reel. So, I mean, in order to have really high highs, you got to have really low lows.
100%.
And it's more so just having that as a key takeaway of you're not alone, stuff happens, and there's ways that we, on a daily basis, not only in our personal lives, but as well as within our companies, things that we have implemented and things that we've overcome over the years. And it's more so just talking about it, being open and transparent about it.
That's right.
Because all those success stories that you're seeing, there's a lot of failures behind it that nobody ever talks about. And I want that really to be a big key takeaway. I'm going to turn that right back around on you. I got to hear your thoughts too.
I mean, I really think that, you said it really well, but, to kind of take it one step further, that, you're not alone and people are there to help, and even though that you may think that you're isolated on an island of some sort, people are there for you, right? It's one of those things where, playing college football, you're like, oh, I finished practice, time to go to my dorm room. Maybe I have some homework, all right, I got to do this all over again. Well, guess what? You've got a whole team and a whole coaching staff and support staff that's there for you. Could be you have a company and that you're working for and I got to go wake up. No, guess what? I get to wake up and go to work, and people are there to work alongside you, with you. So, in the fact that you're not alone, but people are there to be alongside you through that journey. And we haven't scratched the surface of digging into the lows of those lows, through what we would consider our journey. And I think that that's what I want people to see is where we are today. There are many peaks.
Yep.
There's many and probably more valleys.
Yep.
So, I mean, to enjoy the mountaintop, you have to start at the bottom.
And even, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I do want to add in as well that we have a private money lending company. We have a residential construction company. We also are going to be fully breaking down as to how we got to where we are, and then truly drilling on a very granular level how we built the companies, what to look for in real estate deals. If you're looking at a rental, if you're looking at a ground-up construction loan, if you have a house that you're thinking about remodeling, and we're going to talk about really the ins and outs of all things real estate as well. And I want to talk about that and mention that as well, just as right before we close and wrap this up, is because we're not only going to be talking about our journey as to how we got to this point, the valleys and the peaks, we're absolutely going to be talking about that along the way. But I also want all of the listeners to know that if you're interested in real estate, this is a very solid podcast to be listening to.
There's going to be some good things and some good folks that we eventually, bring on to talk about those topics.
For sure.
Because, I mean, we stumbled into this together.
Yep.
And, we're going to keep rolling together. So can't wait for everybody to continue listening to what we can do together here with Flipping the Field. And thank you guys for listening to the first episode.
Looking forward to seeing where we take it from here.